Alrighty, welcome to A2NewTech. I'm happy to have you guys here tonight. Thanks for making it out on another cold winter meetup night. I'm David Nesbitt. I'm your host for A2NewTech. This meetup has been going since 2009, so this is our 10th anniversary year here in 2019, which is pretty awesome. Since 2009, we've had 100 plus meetups, 350 plus companies that have pitched here, and 7,000 members in climbing in the meetup group. So thanks for being part of it. Thanks for coming out tonight. Last year we had almost 60 pitches. For myself, I have been in Ann Arbor for about 10 years now, a little bit longer than this meetup's been running. I spent much of the last 4.5 years working with Ann Arbor startups, and now I work at the university helping manage software projects for academic tools. So this meetup is an important place. It's one of the friendly front doors for entrepreneurship in Michigan. And so we appreciate you investing your time in it. Coming in to meet people, to listen to pitches, to hear what's going on in the community. There's a lot of great stuff happening around here in tech. And this is one of the places you can come to be in the know and to hear what's happening and to get connected. So question as we get started, who's a first timer at A2NewTech tonight? Raise your hand. All right, so maybe like a half of the group, maybe a third. We usually get something around a half. First time people, which is great. A lot of new people checking out the meetup. Who's here hiring for a position tonight? Whose company is hiring for a position that they know about? Okay, one. So you got one guy to talk to if you're, yeah. Who's looking for positions? Okay, someone in the back. So if you didn't raise your hand, but you're actually hiring, talk to her. We'll also have a community announcements time at the end. So you can always make your pitch about a position you're hiring for, a job you're looking for, something else. So this gathering time monthly gives us a time to learn about what's going on in the community, to figure out what companies are out there, who's doing what work. It also helps us meet the people that are building and shaping the future of tech in Ann Arbor. So Ann Arbor's tech scene and the community here is being built by the people that are doing the work, starting companies, starting new ideas, working in companies. As you're here, see if you can help someone out tonight. I'm sure you have reasons that you want to come and learn about what's happening or get connected or network. But I'd say also look for a way to help someone out, give them a connection, teach them something, give them a connection to a resource that would be helpful to them. So think about how you can help everyone in this group walk away with something tonight. After our pitches and our community announcements, we're going to have pizza at Pizza House, courtesy of Ann Arbor Spark again, so please join us for that after the networking, or after the pitches for that networking time. That time's also just a really great time for people to connect on a personal level, to talk a little bit more deeply with people that they saw tonight. And so highly encourage you to come out and join us. We usually have about 25 to 40 people that come out and join us at Pizza House, so it's a good time. In the next month, if you want to stay connected with Ann Arbor NewTech, besides just this physical meeting place we have every third Tuesday, we also have a Slack channel where a lot of activity will happen throughout the year. And so you can check out and join that Slack channel at madeina2.com/Slack. And you can join it there. So there you'll have general announcements, open jobs, postings about a lot of different things. So join it, check it out, and see if it might be worth sticking around and even sharing some things in that Slack community. I want to take a quick moment before we go into our pitches to also say thank you to some people and organizations that helped make this meetup happen. And so there's a lot of people that have put their time into this over the last 10 years. Ann Arbor, or A2 Geeks, is a nonprofit that's dedicated to making Southeastern Michigan and Ann Arbor a great place for geeks and creatives to live, work, and play. Rayle from R2Vibe does our video every month. Roger's usually, he's here every month doing this. Last month we missed him because he was gone. And so Roger's back this month. And if you want to hire Roger for this kind of work or any other kind of video work, you can look up R2Vive, that's R2VIVE, and connect with him for that. There's a variety of co-organizers who have helped to curate presenters and host this meetup over time. So I want to say thank you to them: Doug Song, Zach Steinler, Scott Gosey, David Bloom, David Corcoran, Brian Kelly, Brooke Boyle, and others. So thank you to them. The entrepreneurship at U of M's Law School, where we are right now, the Entrepreneurship Clinic helps us get this room for this meetup every month, so super helpful for them to do that. And Dana Thompson is the founding director of Michigan's Law Entrepreneurship Clinic, and they help us get this space. But also, if you're a company in Michigan, especially a startup, you can get free legal advice like IP, corporate, or various legal services from law students. law service. I think it's legal advice. I don't know exactly what they give. But IP, corporate, and various legal services from law students. And you can contact Laura Schiltz, who's the clinic administrator, to learn more about that. And so I encourage you to take advantage of that if that's your company could benefit. Last, I mentioned Ann Arbor Spark is again sponsoring our pizza this month. They've been doing this for quite a while now. Ann Arbor Spark is committed to bringing together organizations and individuals to support the growth of companies and the creation of jobs. And so we appreciate their support of our meetup over time, and getting this pizza, which brings more people to Pizza House and makes more connections. And that's what Spark does in Ann Arbor. So tonight our agenda, we're going to go till about 8 p.m. And tonight we have kind of a super A2NewTech lineup for you, because we actually have 6 company pitches for you. That's right, count them, 6. So we'll have 6 companies pitch. They'll each do a 5-minute pitch and a 5-minute Q&A. And then afterwards we'll have that community announcements time. A quick note about the Q&A time is that if you do have a question to ask the pitches, I encourage you to come up with questions as you're listening to the pitch, write them down, and then raise your hand when we open the Q&A time. We'll call on you, and then try to put your question in the form of an actual question that they can respond to. So it can be tempting to give feedback, or to say, give an idea, or ask them, or to kind of tell them some advice based on what you've experienced. And I'm sure many people in the audience have tons that they could offer. But I'd encourage you to save that for afterwards, and during the Q&A actually use it for a question that they can answer and the whole audience can benefit from. Lastly, remember to silence your phones, put them on mute. Don't want to interrupt any of these pitches. And if you're tweeting, use the hashtag A2NewTech. And we're going to get started with our first pitches. So I'm going to have a timer right here as the first pitches are coming up. You can keep an eye on your timer here, and it'll be 5 minutes, and then I'll stand up to kind of gracefully cut you off if you're going over. And yeah, so let's get started. Our first pitch tonight is Billy, and Steve Hopkins is going to be pitching Billy. Billy is a healthcare company that provides meaningful insights about the health and well-being of older adults in their homes through the use of ambient sensor technology.
Great, Dave. Thanks for that. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago, I think. So we're a repeat. I think you get about half a credit for coming back and doing a second pitch, maybe, right? So, but very cool stats, and it's awesome to be here tonight. And more than anything, maybe just give an update. Even last time we were here, our company name was Curo. So off camera later, happy to give the side story about the pain and suffering of rebranding as a startup, right? We probably have some marketing people here, and so that was an interesting story. But really just give an update and maybe reintroduce our company to people that are hearing about Billy for the first time. And basically we're a company meeting the needs of a personal dilemma that some of you may have on a personal front, which is how to know how things are going with a loved one when nobody's in their home. And on a professional front with our B2B clients, it's really if you have an actual business model stake in that game, then that's a really important dilemma as well. Saving costs in healthcare and improving quality of life. So that's really the focus that we're involved in, and we do this through using passive sensor data collection. All right, and I come from the provider space myself. I was with a nonprofit for about 10 years here in Washtenaw County and Wayne County, and one of the biggest challenges is using awesome technology that works. Many of us have created some very, very cool things only to find out the older adults really, in many cases, either don't like to engage with them, don't want certain big, ugly things in their homes, or we need older adults to do something for us to help collect information. All right, I'm a big fan of wearables, but my experience over 10 years that we still had about a 25% dropout rate of wearables, which meant I had 1 out of 4 people that we weren't collecting information on, and that was a really painful experience for us. So we use passive sensors, basically that just capture movement information, all right, of the person or important things in the home that have to do with that person's well-being, and we contextualize it into meaningful tasks and well-being information. And the valuable thing is older adults don't need to do anything for us once we put the kits in the home. They don't need to log into a tablet. They don't have to wear anything. In fact, after a couple days, most of our clients let us know that they completely forgot there was a system in their home, which is a really great outcome. The stakeholder experiences really vary between seniors, care providers, and families. So we've spent this entire start of our existence in the B2B enterprise space, all right, selling primarily to insurance companies, health systems, and senior care providers. All right, and it's been a fantastic experience. It's going to continue to thrive for us on an economic model. It's also given us a couple years to really get this product awesome and work out some of the kinks of it. You know, we've had a long-standing relationship with Samsung, so we sit on hardware that any of us could go out and buy tomorrow on Amazon, and we basically are the software side of that tool set to use for a healthcare product. All right. Up here are just some of the key measurement outcomes that are valuable for a provider, and here's some for insurance. So we're really talking about reducing costs of healthcare, keeping people independent longer, and increasing quality of life as far as experiences with them. Our big excitement for 2019 is that we've spent all this time in a B2B world that we're really focused on launching a direct-to-consumer product this year in Q3. So I thought I would just wrap up real quick and just share a quick little video on that, which the sound is not working. Rob again.
How do I know it's happening?
Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's going on now.
I think click restart.
There is no way for me.
Oh, there we go. We're good.
But this is Billy. You look at me, okay? I definitely will. Billy gives me peace of mind and gives my dad personal freedom. It uses home sensor technology in order to give vital information about your loved one's wellness to you and your family. There's nothing to wear and no buttons to push. Billy works in the background to supply you with important wellness information. Healthy habits are tracked and represented in the personal wellness score for immediate insight, so you can detect a concern before it becomes an emergency. Billy keeps track of my dad's daily activity, so I can know he's eating properly and getting out for choir practice every Tuesday. If something changes in his routine, or if, say, the heater breaks and the house gets cold, Billy notifies me and my family immediately. Billy gives us a smart, personal helping hand. Billy can also work with caregivers to give you organized and effective information and gives seniors back their independence. And family and caregivers get real-time insights into the well-being of the ones they love. So my siblings and I can all be on the same page. Working together, Billy means less emergency care and hospital visits, less overall healthcare expense, and increased quality of life for our whole family. So when I visit my dad, our conversations don't revolve around whether he took his medications today. He just gets to be Dad. Billy is today's solution to older adult care. Billy, supporting independence through insight. Learn more at billycare.com.
Super. Well, we're still at Spark, and we've had a great time there as well. So we're looking at building our team. I'll talk later, a quick announcement. I'm here with Cameron as well, but happy to entertain any questions that anybody has. Yep.
What is the typical cost for the setup for all this? I mean, there's a lot of sensors and things like that. What would it be?
Yeah, so basically we use a standard kit of 6 sensors. The cost still right now is about a $200 price point. We're a classic SaaS model, so we we're not marketing hardware. We really kind of focus at break even. It's low enough now that we're probably really close to getting into a home at zero hardware costs. So and then subscriptions range between $35 and $60 based on the provider or B2B enterprise environment that we're working in.
Great.
Yeah.
Right here?
Yes.
Why are you thinking of going to consumer directly versus just keeping it B2B?
Yeah, that's a great question. The main reason is this solution is most intuitive to family members. All right, so the B2B sale is a little bit complex because it also involves really understanding diverse business models and getting very involved in disrupting those. Right, we're in a healthcare system where primarily it's still fee-for-service, and so building in efficiencies Things that maybe produce great outcome but don't fit that business model can be troublesome. And then you're also training a new workflow. You know, using data to actually make decisions is not standard practice out there necessarily. When you put this tool in the hands of a family member, an adult daughter or son or anything, we do no training. We do no training. They get it in about 60 seconds, and you know, our stickiness is about 95% on that. So we've just waited to do that. Obviously, it's a whole different engagement as far as marketing and that sort of thing. So we plan on keeping those tracks parallel, and we're still pleased that we did it in that order. Does that make sense?
Yeah. In the middle here?
Yes, sir.
You're describing a model that you still haven't described. Like, how do you set up the sensors to know that I'm opening my pills, or that how does it know that I have my lunch? You're able to do that without any training, or?
Yeah, so what the system's capable of doing is learning somebody's activities over a period of about 10 days, norming them. So this data is specific for, you know, your loved one, different than their neighbors per se. And then the aggregation of 2 or 3 data points together to tell a story, like I'm taking my pills, or I'm having lunch, or I got up this morning, or I got up last night 5 times to go to the bathroom.
How did it know the first time during the training? How does it know what you're doing?
Well, the sensors are placed in an area where, you know, a refrigerator opening at a certain time of day, at the same time you open the pantry, we're able to aggregate a story there. A pill box, certainly a movement of a pill box might not know for sure that you took and ingested the blue pill, right? We just use that data to get pretty close assumptions. Really valuable data to know you didn't take the pill though. And so there's kind of value in both the confirmation of something happened or the confirmation of something not happened.
I'm just mystified, yeah. When I go, my mother goes into the bathroom and she does something and you have sensors in there. How do you know she even keeps her pills in the bathroom?
Well, that's part of the intake. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
that's the part of the intake. How much does the intake cost? What does all that involve?
It's really very simple. It doesn't cost anything. I mean, we're in the data collection business telling a story, so we're more invested maybe than you would be in getting that data right. So we have a standard setup that really captures success rate about 75, and then we can customize the other 25% to say your mom's a little different with her habits, and we're going to use these 10 days to learn that she actually keeps them in the kitchen behind this door. All right, so there is some customization. The setup in these kits takes about 15 minutes. You could do it with no training. You know, it's just not that hard about the technology. It's more about how making meaning of the data, really.
And you're not worried that your intake costs will have trouble scaling?
They haven't yet. For our enterprise clients, you know, I mean, it's very easy. Most of them want to do this themselves, quite honestly. They don't want us in the homes of their clients. Right. And so we've proven to be very successful at training this repetitively, and even sometimes not even including on-site training.
One more question, right here.
Is your B2B funding the B2C side of the business, or are you seeking funding?
No, no. So we're not quite that mature. We weren't really planning on doing this for another year, to be honest with you, and we've just had so much kind of pressure. I mean, a good pressure, but part of that's been funding pressure. So our last round of funding closed, and one of our partners has kind of said, if we're going to work together and we're going to do this, we we really implore you to go B2C in this next year. So, so we have some funding money to help with that. Really, I think we're at the stage with B2B where we're fueling our burn rate, aside from that push to B2C.
Does that relationship prohibit you from taking funding in other areas?
No, no. So we have absolutely no relationships that have become exclusive in either dollars or technology partnerships. So we're still straddling those fences successfully so far.
Great.
All right, that's all the time we got.
Thanks
Thank
you.
Pitch tonight is Unify Vault, and so Rakesh Katragada is here to pitch Unify Vault. Unify Vault is next generation EDR using blockchain and hybrid AI.
Hello everybody, my name is Rakesh Katragada and I'm with Unify Vault. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the data breaches with Marriott, with Equifax, and this is just tip of the iceberg. You will see a lot of reports. There are two kinds of organizations that exist in the world today. People who know they have been breached, and people who don't know they have been breached. But pretty much every organization is vulnerable. Any system, any information we put out there is hackable and has been breached. It's just that how can we prevent, how long can we protect the data, and how do we protect our crown jewels is what organizations are looking at. So one of the biggest problems today is if you look at a security organization, they're looking at 30 screens, and they're having information from all different locations. So there is not a single system that can curate or take all these different pieces of information. Like for example, for our iPhones, like organizations have iPhones. You know, when we go to an airport, we use the Wi-Fi at an airport. That's very vulnerable. At a hotel, right? They give us a Wi-Fi password. All it takes is one person or a person in a different room to have access to the same Wi-Fi and kind of access our data. It's pretty simple, and these tools are available in the so-called dark web for like less than $10 a piece. So what we have come up with, and the biggest problem is what happens is all the data, like you've heard the phrase, putting all the eggs in one basket, that's what happens today. So all the data sources go to one central database. And these criminals or the hackers, all they require is one key or one employee to access that information. And that becomes a gateway to the entire information. So what we have done using the distributed ledger technology, blockchain is a buzzword, but used for Bitcoin. So blockchain was built by criminals, right? And the bad people. So we took the same thing and we converted that for protecting information. So what we do is, it's kind of a technical architecture, but we kind of take the same thing and distribute the information. So what happens is criminals have to break through all the different systems as opposed to breaking just one system. And we make it extremely hard for them to kind of break through a security protocol. And that's kind of the architecture. It's pretty detailed, but I can go in a little bit more. The other big problem with security is people are accessing a lot of information. So for an organization to look at a security footprint, they require petabytes of data. So we overcome that by using something called as the knowledge of the data as opposed to the raw data itself. So it's called something called as a zero knowledge proof, is we exchange secrets between the nodes as opposed to the data itself. So that's kind of why we're unique. And this is how we do in an organization, is as opposed to having one central location, we distribute the information and use advanced cryptography and things of that nature to kind of protect information. So we also do a lot of data. We take data from from the dark web. How many of you are familiar with the dark web or the deep web? So that's where all the criminals get into, and they get all the different malware strains and things like that. So we analyze it. We have a great team of people, researchers that we have that kind of look at alerts and kind of have organizations. So we also work with law enforcement today. We were in the stealth mode for a year, and we just released the software 6 months ago, and we have almost 10 organizations and kind of rapidly scaling up. So this is kind of how we, again, this is how we look at the attack. We look at behavior, we look at machine learning, and we distribute the information using blockchain. And this is kind of different information like social net, social media, honeypots. Honeypots is something is, we set up mouse traps. So when criminals come in, we know they're inside the network and we learn their patterns. And based on the patterns, we kind of change information as well. And so this is kind of a value proposition, and this is how we do, the dashboard showing real-time information. So we had almost $250,000 in revenue last year. I funded the whole team in the development, and we're looking at about $5 million this year already with booked revenue from a lot of our customers. They're primarily healthcare, financial institutions, and various different organizations. So this is a competition and Cylance was just acquired. I don't know if BlackBerry acquired them for quite a bit of money. So this is some of the competition we are working with. And security is a very niche industry. We are, like I said, we're in a very infancy stage. And the biggest thing is when people say Internet of Things and all the data being stored on the internet, that's the most scary part because our lives are at stake. So thank you very much for your time today.
Questions for Rakesh? Yes.
Hi.
So Rakesh, part of your team doing architecture, it actually goes and inspects, lays out the database architecture for your client? Or do you also help them distribute the data like you were showing that
Yes.
it's distributed? So
Yes,
you lay
we
out
have,
the architecture?
yeah, we take the existing infrastructure and distribute across every individual endpoint. So if an organization has, say, 8,000, 7,000 endpoints, endpoints are computers, laptops, we distribute them and kind of also look at how the information is coming from the different nodes as well.
No, you were talking about the central database. I was wondering about that one.
So we don't change what they have today,
okay.
but we analyze the data coming in from different endpoints.
Okay.
And what they do is, in a security infrastructure today, so if I have a laptop, all the data goes to one central location, and they analyze the data at that location.
Right.
But what the hacker does, the first thing he does when he comes into a system is he turns off the anti-malware, virus software. That's why in spite of Symantec and all these companies, they're failing because they're much a step ahead compared to what we are. And so they learn the different patterns. What we are doing is we are learning at the source and distributing that information.
Thank you.
Other questions? Gotta come up with at least one more. There we go.
Yeah, how do you, so if I wanted to buy this or package it, how do you sell it? How does it?
So it comes based on individual endpoint because, I mean, like for example, it comes like $5 per computer or per phone per month.
$5 per endpoint per month.
Yes, and also we track. So for example, we were surprised when we showed one of the law enforcement that their data was going to China, and they just bought it right off the bat because they had no visibility that data was being leaked and the data was going from. But we also map what kind of data sources are coming in and where the data is going to. And we also do geofencing to kind of block data going to different countries.
And how do people know that it's actually working?
You can test it.
The customer can.
Yeah. Yes, they can.
Do your customers typically, are they sophisticated enough to hire people to try to do intrusion kinds of things to see if they can beat it?
Penetration testing. You can
Yeah,
simulate
that's
it.
right, yeah.
You can simulate it. There are companies that do because they attack systems to see how vulnerable we are or how protected we are.
Do you have recommendations from people that are good at attacking systems that say, I can't break this system?
Yeah, so we are calling to attack systems as well. So and it's illegal to attack without consent. So we form.
Sure.
So we have an agreement with them that if we break the system in and they're okay with it, yeah. And we show them where their loopholes.
But it doesn't count to break your own. You got to have somebody else try to break your system and say they couldn't do it for it to be credible.
Our system?
Yeah.
Yeah, we break our own system every day just to make sure because we are attacked. And what they do, the hackers, they do social engineering. So they try to that's why I'm not on social media, but they try to use social media and attack us in many ways. It's kind of a scary world if you look into it, but yeah, that's where we are.
Okay. Yeah. Other questions for Akash? Yes.
So most organizations have a VPN now. So you're replacing the VPN network for people to come in because I'm trying to figure out how much are you altering the existing footprint and the architecture of the network, and are you replacing all of that?
So VPN also has vulnerabilities. In fact, there are systems, malware strains that can go through a VPN. If you Google VPN vulnerabilities, you see the entire list how hackers can go through. What we are doing is, anytime a device accesses a network or a cloud or anything, we protect them against malware or behavior. So for example, I haven't shown here, but we map the flow of traffic in real time between the device always accessing an enterprise VPN, and we tell the organization, look, something malicious is trying to access through your VPN.
So I understand that, but I'm just trying to understand that, okay, I become a customer, what do I do? Do I now route my VPN to you?
No, we just install our agents. We call them bots. So these bots are installed on each of the machine, and they look at the traffic.
Oh, so this is just a monitoring system?
Yeah.
Oh, not just, it's a fantastic thing. It's just, yeah. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
No problem. But what hackers do is, the existing monitoring systems, they break through, they turn it off.
Yeah.
But ours can be broken. They have to go to every individual user and then break it. So it's very hard to break it. I mean, everything is breakable. If somebody says, I give 100% protection, they're lying because anything is hackable.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome.
All
right, that's all the time we have. Thanks for catching. And our next pitch is InfiniSuite, and Lee Mellinger will be pitching. So come on up, you can get plugged in. So InfiniSuite is a new economy. This is how Lee describes it. The new economy needs a new accounting software. InfiniSuite is a modern, extensible cloud accounting platform for tech startups. While he's getting set up, I'll show you a couple fun facts about Lee. InfiniSuite is his 4th fintech startup, so this guy's a seasoned entrepreneur. And then another interesting fact is that he codes to heavy metal. Any other heavy metal fans in the room? Coding to heavy metal, listening to heavy metal? That's, okay.
Thank you for that. Good evening. My name is Lee Mellinger. I am CEO of InfiniSuite. We make accounting software. Also want to thank you all for coming out on a cold night. So who are we? Why are we here? InfiniSuite is we're an early stage fintech company in Ann Arbor. We're a modern, extensible cloud ERP system. We're really oriented around the very first market that we're going after is going to be growing SaaS and SME companies. And our objective tonight is to connect with early adopters, partners, and potential funding sources. So where do we fit? In a nutshell, growing small to mid-sized enterprises. So SMEs tend to outgrow their initial entry-level accounting solution, oftentimes within the first 6 months to a year. The mid-market software packages that are the next level up are notoriously bloated, complex, and pricey, very difficult to implement. So what was needed was something in the middle, okay? An intermediate solution so when you came off QuickBooks and Xero and FreshBooks, you didn't have to jump all the way to NetSuite or Great Plains or one of the big mid-market systems. So we fit right in between there, between the entry-level system and the mid-market system. The idea was to bring the horsepower, a lot of the horsepower of the mid-market systems, meaning the tech from the mid-market systems, bring that down to to an SME price point, and to make it accessible for SMEs. So in the grand scheme, at a very, very high level, there's really been kind of 4 generations of accounting software. This is useful information that you probably don't want to store away for too long. Not that many people follow accounting software. I've been in the industry clear back to the beginning. And this is actually the 4th generation. That's kind of the important point there. We are the 4th generation of accounting software. Pretty much started with the launch of the public cloud, specifically AWS, and now you've got SoftLayer and you've got Azure. We are an ERP system for small to mid-sized enterprises that was built this century. So many of the systems that you see here, if you go all the way back to Solomon, Great Plains, some of those were built in the 80s, and they've been upgraded and taken forward, but they really haven't been rewritten for the new economy. This is a cloud 2.0 accounting solution designed specifically to operate in a public cloud. So our target markets are SME, small to mid-sized enterprises, and SaaS companies who have outgrown their current solutions. They have unique accounting requirements or have special technical requirements or just want to move to the cloud. And OEM, vertical market, and CPA firms who want to offer integrated accounting as a partner or as an integrated solution, or to create vertical market modules. So from a feature perspective, we're an accounting system, so we have the usual boring stuff, the general ledger, payables, receivables, inventory, order processing. We are full multi-currency. For some of the newer economy companies, We have subscription management, SaaS billing, and SaaS metrics. Those really fit well with the the new business models, companies that are typically cloud-based and generally by subscription. On the tech side, and you really don't hear a lot about the tech side of accounting software, it becomes a really big deal when you start to grow. You start cutting deals, for example, that are complex and don't really fit into the accounting solution, and there's some very divergent deal making that goes on that just don't fit perfectly on an invoice. So a lot of times you'll have to either do that sort of billing by hand. You can't automate it because your salespeople are either making deals on a case-by-case basis and everyone is different, or your system is not able to accommodate it. It's not able to be adapted. In our tech tools, we have a complete SDK and API, a built-in scripting system, a built-in scripting engine that allows you to modify, customize, and tailor the system. So just very quickly, my own personal background, serial entrepreneur, 25 years in fintech, used to work for Solomon, which is now Microsoft Dynamics SL, and I've had a few startups dating back all the way to .com. And then Michelle Bracey is my partner, and she also has 25 years of experience. So, questions?
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks.
Who's got questions?
Okay.
I say that SaaS billing up there, I think that's pretty novel. Are there connectors built in that let them automate some of that billing already, or are they going to have to provide the integration?
Yeah, you've got a template, first of all, that it's just kind of standard. You've got to start somewhere, so that's going to be kind of the ones you can predict, monthly, quarterly, annually. You can, using the scripting, and I fully admit that we're relying on the fact that colleges are spitting out a lot of really good IT people, and everybody knows JavaScript. So what this does, it gives you very direct access to being able to use JavaScript to tweak those processes to meet whatever requirements you have. And we've seen some really exotic SaaS billing that it was one of the drivers for this.
Right next here.
So, who's your first customer? There's a lot of features and things that you had up there, like a shotgun. Who are you focusing on? Who's your first customer? Who is unique that will buy your product because they have to?
SMEs is a very broad category, of course. SaaS software narrows it down by quite a bit. So, good question, and you get asked that a lot in VC meetings. 2 data points that are really significant. Everyone has to do accounting. Everyone who has a unique business model needs some specialization of accounting. So in terms of direct targeting, rather than going straight after just a pure vertical, which is a little dicey because you're really putting a lot of resources into fulfilling, into writing additional capability for a specific vertical, we tried to pick a column rather than a very narrow slice, and that column was SaaS software companies. So we're really targeting software, specifically software companies that use a subscription model. So in terms of narrowing it down, that's our first, inside the tornado analogy, that's our first bowling pin is SaaS software companies. And then we've got several ideas on where to go from there. And plus, we're in a general accounting system under the hood. Somebody comes in and wants a cloud accounting system, we're there.
What's your ask, and do you have any traction?
We have an MVP, been coding for a while on this. But yeah, right now, I don't have an answer to what the ask is. That has actually changed. We originally thought, well, hey, we can go get some funding for the MVP. That's not the environment that we live in. We went ahead and funded that ourselves. And we're now at a point where we've got an MVP, we're looking for our first customers, we're getting ready to go back for really Series A, or maybe early stage funding. If I was to, been doing this a while, I would say probably 500 to $1 million.
So maybe connections to SaaS companies who need an accounting software is an ask for tonight.
So yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
How long does a typical integration take? If Dynamic is couple $1 million?
It depends what you're integrating to, of course. Integrating to Stripe is, that's a pretty easy thing to do. Given that you've got so much, you've got the entire JavaScript engine and vast REST API, plus you can modify schema, so you really have the ability to build just about anything you want. Again, it completely depends on what you're integrating to. We've done some very complex integrations over the years.
Last question over here.
I've got a SME company with 20 employees. I use QuickBooks today. How hard is it for me to switch from QuickBooks to your software?
Very good question. First of all, what you don't try to do is you never really. We can do it. We can actually move all the transactions over. You're a lot better off taking a trial balance, all of the entities, the customers, the vendors, the inventory items, moving those over, initializing from your trial balance, and start from there. And then, if you want neat old data, go back to the old system, and you're going to get up and going in a much shorter period of time, significantly shorter period of time than if you try to convert those transactions. It's usually pretty counterproductive. In a couple of years, it doesn't even matter because you're not looking at that data.
But it sounds like it's kind of a manual process today.
Well, the import, we do have import for all of that, but you still have to write a script to actually format your transactions out of QuickBooks into the new system. Now, QuickBooks at some point we may write that script anyway, but at the moment, you can import the core entities and the seed numbers for the trial balance.
All right, thank you very much. Alrighty, deep breath. We've got 3 more. You guys ready for 3 more? Yeah, that's what I thought. Next pitch is PedalCell. So Adam Hoken is here to pitch PedalCell. And PedalCell is the power source for smart bicycle technologies. Fun fact about Adam, he's currently finishing his last semester as a senior at U of M. Very close to the finish line, Adam. I'll say that for you. So yeah, and he's going to pitch PedalCell for us.
Hello everyone, my name is Adam Hoken and I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer of PedalCell. We're the power source for smart bicycle technologies. It's no secret that the way we move is changing. Rapid urbanization has led to over 60% of trips in the United States to be under 6 miles. And people have been looking for the best way to travel these distances. And the bike has been one of the best options. In fact, Wired came out with an article last year that stated that the vehicle of the future has two wheels, 2 pedals, a handlebar, and is your good old-fashioned bike. But the bicycle is under rapid change. Technology is being added to the bike at a rapid pace, what we call the smart bike movement. In fact, over half of all bikes sold, 160 million bikes sold in 2021, will be smart. The main reason why this is happening is because consumers are demanding bikes to be safer, more connected, more convenient to use, and have more functionality. In fact, there was a survey that was done with the top 50 metropolitan areas in the United States and said that people would ride a bike if certain things were fixed, if they were safer, more accessible, had more functionality. And the smart bike is the way this is going to happen. The smart bike utilizes technology to make riding safer, more connected, or just plain fun. Examples of this include phone charging, voice assistants like Amazon Alexa, fleet tracking systems for BIKESHARE, ABS brakes, and even safety systems that can prevent accidents with motor vehicles. And the smart bike is not new. In fact, it's been around since 1998 with simple systems like RFID. But to get the bike to where it needs to be, to where consumers are demanding, it needs a continuous and stable power source, one that doesn't exist today, until now. Our product is called Cadence X. It harnesses the motion of a bicycle rider and converts it into stable and continuous electricity through our patent-pending IP. Cadence X comprises of two primary components. There's a highly efficient front fork generator that's custom designed, and our electronics that are mounted near the rider. Cadence X can either be added to any bicycle design or be embedded inside of the frame. What makes Cadence X so special is this simple image. The reality is, when you bike, it's never one speed. You go uphill, downhill, you start and you stop, and this creates a power curve that's all over the place that doesn't work for anything besides lights. Cadence X stabilizes this power and ensures those smart bike technologies have the energy they need to operate. Our customers are two primary segments. The big one, and the one we're really focused on at the end of the day, are bike brands, which are trying to satisfy that demand for consumers for things like charging devices and safety systems. They want to embed Cadence X inside the actual frame of the bike, and these customers have told us directly that they wouldn't order anything less than 100,000 units per customer, so that's our large volume. What we're focusing on today, though, and what our first go-to-market is, are bike shares and bike tours. These guys have fleet management sensors on board the bikes and need to swap batteries out every day. It's extremely expensive. With Cadence X, that reduces their operational expenses and ensures that they could have much more efficient operations. Now, our traction to date includes a connected vehicle pilot with Ford Motor Company. You might be asking, why is a biking company piloting with Ford? Well, the reality is that Ford is looking to add automotive-grade sensors to bikes that communicate with cars for safety reasons. Up to today, they didn't have a way to do that, but PedalCell enables that communication to be open to power those sensors. We're currently shipping paid production samples to a whole host of bike brands you're probably familiar of, as well as big bike tours and bike shares. And we actually exhibited at a trade show last week with a leading folding bike company, Oyama, and so that was a whole lot of fun. And we're going to be going to mass production this summer by delivering commercial units. We've assembled a well-rounded team, including myself, who handles sales, my co-founder, Vishal, who invented our IP, Gar, our CTO, who has over 7 years of manufacturing experience, Tarun, who just got his master's degree from Northwestern in mechanical engineering, and Kim, who has over 14 years of experience in the cycling industry. The main reason why I'm here today is we're currently fundraising our seed round. So we've already raised $210,000 to date, but we're looking to raise an additional $700,000 to allow us to deliver to our first customers and get some of those contracts with those large bike brands. We've already raised $70,000 for this round and are be closing in the next 60 days. Thank you all so much for your time, and I would love to hear your questions.
Questions for Adam? Yeah.
How easy is it to retrofit an existing bicycle?
Sure, that's a great question. So it's under 2 minutes, actually. We're at a customer this past week, and he left for 2 minutes. He came back, and we have so if we go back here to some of the photos of the product. So you see this clamp here. So that clamp is actually universal. And so it has one bolt, and that bolt could be a security bolt too, and so it can be theft proof. And so it's actually fairly simple.
Can you disclose the generation technology?
Sure, so our actual patent, so this is a 3-phase 8-pole generator. You can buy those off the shelf. It's already been used on a bike, but we were just smart and knew what to get. The actual stuff in here is our bread and butter. So we use a mix of custom firmware, which is a trade secret, and I've built our platform around supercapacitors. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with supercaps, but essentially think of them as a battery that could discharge very quickly and charge up very quickly. You can charge things up in like a second or two. And so up till now, there's been no real way to manage those correctly. And so a lot of our patent is around how you manage those supercapacitors with power management.
Are you using vibration harvesting?
No. So we've looked at it, not powerful enough.
I have a question. So you mentioned like bike shares and GPS, or like locks would be one of the things that they're challenging. So how long is it able to maintain power over time? For example, if it's not used, like it sits for 2 days in a rack, is the lock going to be still active or able to change? How does that work?
Sure. So at
storing power.
Sure. Yeah. So our system isn't made for storing power. We could do that, but that problem was already solved a long time ago with the lithium-ion battery. It's very good at storing power. The issues start coming into play when the sensors need to update very frequently, because you have two options today. Either A, you have your system not update a lot. We've talked to people updates once every 8 hours, and then your bike ends up in a river and you don't know. Or you just straight up have to charge it very frequently. So right now it's about 2 weeks. Some of the more advanced systems every 2 weeks need to charge them. Yeah, with this type of system, you never need to charge it ever again. Question up there.
Have you considered adding some of that other functionality, like GPS tracking, and maybe that's a little bit to that question? Because right now it feels like a bunch of modular pieces that all need to be brought together.
Sure. So what really drove us to create the solution is that people in the industry were already creating these applications, but there was no way to power them. So there was kind of this big need that wasn't met. The great thing about our system is very agnostic in terms of what it plugs into. Most of the time, it's just a USB port. But we have considered that, but in reality, when we look at this industry, it's very new, the smart bike, in terms of it coming up and what applications will come out tomorrow. And so from our perspective, it's much safer to be the guy that's going to be supplying the power than betting on a specific application. Because at the end of the day, everyone's going to need power. I mean, look at your phone, it's dying all the time, right? Power's the problem. Oh, a few more, okay.
Have you guys done any sort of lifespan testing, say daily use? Do you know how long this would last?
Oh yeah, we've tested it over 10,000 miles. It's not broken yet. Yeah.
How much energy does your unit hold?
So we can produce 20 watts of power, up to 20 watts of power. So is anyone here, some of the older folks in the room might know like a dynamo generator, something like a dinky little generator that used to power lights a long time ago. Those produced around 3 to 6 watts. So you could get over double the amount of power than like an existing solution. And it's comparable to what like a large like portable battery pack could output.
Why not a direct consumer?
It's a great question, and it's one that actually we pivoted from originally. And the answer boils down to the fact that if you're a consumer, I tell them you have power on a bike, and I didn't give them this presentation. Most people are like, what the hell do you need power on a bike for? The value comes in when you pair it with other applications. And so the way to do that is through channel partners and a B2B relationship. Because if I tell you you have power on a bike, kind of cool, I could charge my phone. Tell you we're powering a safety system that could save your life with a vehicle, that's when value is maximized.
Time for one more question. Right here.
So you brought up you're in a position now where you're looking to raise funds. What would you mentioned it would be so that way you can service the customers that you're already approaching? Is that for inventory and manufacturing costs, or is that sales and marketing to those customers?
It's mainly manufacturing and supporting our people with salaries.
Sure. Time for one more, maybe? Quick question. Yeah.
What's the price of it?
Varies depending on scale, but on an average consumer bike that you might find this on, the extra price would vary between $50 to $100 with the bike with pedal cell technology.
All right, that's all the time we got.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, and our next presentation is Movatic, and Ansgar Strother is here to present for us. Movatic is a software platform that makes mobility hardware shareable. Ansgar was here maybe in August or November, August of last year. So he's here to give an update on some of the things that have happened since then, which will be great. Interesting fact about Ansgar, for the first 27 years of his life, his legal address always had an open building permit on it. You can ask him afterwards.
There you go. Hi. Thanks for all coming out today. I'm Ansgar, co-founder and CEO of Movatic. So as Adam, I feel like my presentation was already given. Bike scooters are the new way to get around, or maybe not the new way, but they're the hot way and a growing way as we continue to urbanize. There's just one issue with that, is managing a bunch of bikes, a bunch of scooters, or the infrastructure around it is a pain in the butt. And that's why most bike shops don't offer bike rental, because you have paperwork to do. There's maintenance. And the user experience of if you're trying to rent a bike out, doing it manually sucks. It's complicated to do. And that's where Movatic comes in. We offer a B2B software as a service solution, management platform, app to make that easy. We've had a lot of traction, 30,000 users on the platform so far, 125 different systems that have launched, BIKESHARE, bike parking, and now scooter solutions, and are working with 12 different OEMs that act as our primary sales channel. Those are the people actually, developing the bikes, the locking solutions, other things like that. Kind of getting down to how it all works, download the Movatic app, just like a Bird app, except we bring together a bunch of different systems. So if you want to, as a bike shop, launch your own system, you're able to use the Movatic app to launch. We also have a complete back-end solution to actually manage the billing, pricing, user management, ban a user if they're abusing the system, set your terms of service, etc. So to get a little bit more concrete here, one of our key partners launching this platform is on BIKESHARE. So they had started out as a bike company. They eventually started moving into the bike sharing space by doing key boxes. So, punch in a key code, get out a key, unlock a lock. We worked with them to transform their solution into something that's now app-based, where you can walk up to one of their dock-based solutions and then unlock that with your phone, offering a simple and clean user experience. We also worked with the city of Santiago, Chile. They were looking to bring bike parking to their subway stops so that users could securely lock up their bikes and then feel safe riding that into the city. They have a mandate to be within 10 minutes of all their residents. So that bike parking helps get them to those different locations. So for those of you who heard before, this all sounds pretty similar. What's really changed for us is that we're now doing white label applications. So in addition to the Movatic app, we're now going out and branding apps for individual clients. And what we found is that really is critical to going after the larger operators. And that's really been one of our pivots here, is that we do best working with people that already have deployed fleets, are already doing something with software, where we're able to come in and work with them at scale right away. There's a lot of people that want to launch at smaller scales initially, but it's pretty hard to do, and that was just a slower to market strategy. So the founding team, myself and Adam Jaquila, this is our second startup, and then we also have a couple of talented programmers working with us on that. So we launched a platform 2017. We were in DECENTRALIZED this summer, and now we're rolling out these white label apps with 3 initial partners, and we're growing rapidly towards 6,000 units. And just to give some context of our growth, we have about 2,500 units on the platform at this point. And a couple of the things that I just wanted to talk to you guys slightly about that we're looking to get out of this pitch is we just signed one of those big white label contracts where we're actually taking over software for an existing stack. So we're going to be looking for a contractor that does some Ruby on Rails. So if you know anyone, be interested in talking, there we go, find me afterwards. We're also raising just a tiny bit of working capital, already breaking even and growing, but just adding a little bit more to that, and we're listed on Net Capital. So if you have any interest in that, you can take a look at that as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Could you tell me a little bit about the actual revenue model itself? Is it on a transaction basis? Or?
We take revenue 2 ways. So we take a cut of the transaction and then a per unit fee as well.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
Can you share anything about what you charge, pricing?
So our retail price is $49 a year per bike, per rack on the platform, and then we take 3.1% of the transaction revenue on the platform as well, in addition to the underlying credit card fees.
Did you mention this might be purchased or subscribed to by a bike shop?
Yeah, we've worked with...
What business model would they be doing to...
They want to add something to their existing kind of business of selling bikes. So a lot of them, so most bike shops do not offer bike rental. And that's because it's really freaking hard to manage all the paperwork, the insurance, and other aspects around that. So we're able to make that easy for them so that they can just, deploy the bikes out in the field and then go do the maintenance, which they're very comfortable with doing. In addition, the companies that have been running bike rental programs out of their stores, they're starting to get their clocks cleaned by all of the dockless bike shares, because their solutions of walking into a store is, simply put, a little bit cumbersome and antiquated versus pulling out your phone, ready to go.
Other questions? Yeah.
Santiago, how did that happen?
They looked at one of the companies we partner with that does bike lockers. So I don't know, who knows what a bike locker is, first off, real quick? We actually have them in Ann Arbor. They're big boxes you can rent if you have an expensive road bike and put your bike in. So they're keyboards right now across the country. So we can digitize that. So again, use your smartphone, no mailing out keys. So they looked at one of the companies we worked with, found us, and then contacted us.
So yours is a software solution. There is no hardware like he presented, right?
Yeah, so we, again, a piece of the ecosystem, partner with a bunch of different hardware OEMs. So there's a lot of companies out there that have been producing smart locks, been making bike racks, bike lockers, and they just need kind of the management aspect to come in to unlock the complete solution.
Time for another couple questions.
What kind of competitors do you have?
Yeah, so there's basically two companies out there that are pretty similar to us, Joyride and then also Sharing OS. I think one of the things that really differentiates us is the fact that we have the Movatic app in addition to white label apps. So our competitors, you say, hey, I want to launch something or try something out, they're going to say, okay, give us about 2 months, maybe 3 months to brand up your initial app and get you launched. What we can do is we can launch you on the Movatic app to do a pilot, because we're aggregating together different systems, and then seamlessly roll out a white label app. So kind of our view is that as mobility matures and there's a lot of different solutions, you're going to see the same solution showing up in a lot of different places. So that's sort of our strategy, and it has been working out pretty well for us.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with white label. Is that they just utilize your infrastructure, or
We basically
that, or?
So we take the Movatic app, put a pretty brand on top of it of theirs, and put it in the App Store, Play Store for them.
And it's an existing app that they've been running for a while, or?
Our app, Skin. So, yeah.
So they pay you a subscription, or do they buy it?
They pay a subscription for the white label as well.
Other questions over here?
So your customers prefer the white label versus just using your actual app? Like, isn't it more convenient for their customers to have one app to use?
Yeah. Larger clients really care about their brand identity, because they're looking to avoid being locked into a singular platform, investing in promoting another brand that's not themselves. So by doing, you're on the Movatic app and in a white label app, that kind of gives them the best of both worlds.
Awesome, that's all the time we got. Great. Thanks, Edgar. All right, and our last pitch for the evening is Mark Schweinitz, and he's pitching Fluent. Fluent is a mobile application that connects foreign language students with native speakers from around the world. A fun fact about Mark, he married a Brazilian 16 years ago, then moved to Brazil for a few months to learn Portuguese. They now have 4 kids, and they've been in Michigan for 10 years.
Nobody touched this. All right, at least he didn't start my timer yet. That's good. All right, so I'm going to use the first minute or two to tell you a little bit about myself and a short story. My name is Mark Schweinitz. I'm a Fluent student, and I'm also the founder of the company. My mother was a high school language teacher, taught French and German. I grew up in California. So I was put into French classes all the way from elementary school into college. And then I decided to serve a mission for my church, the Mormon church. And we send in papers and they send us back a letter and tell us where we're going to go. So I'm not sure if you've met anyone that's done that. But it's a great experience. And I went to France, to the Bordeaux, France mission. So when I arrived in France, I was very confident that I would easily be able to communicate with the people. I'd done about 10 years of formal French classes at school, but found I couldn't even hold a conversation with somebody. So I felt like it was kind of a ripoff. I said, why did I do all this homework over all these years? I can't even have a conversation with somebody in a restaurant or anything. But it took about 4 months of speaking with the native speakers every day to finally become fluent in the language. And so I was able to easily communicate and dream in the language. Later, I married a Brazilian after I returned home and wanted to learn Portuguese, so I went to work in Brazil for her uncle for a little while, who owned a language business. And then after all of these experiences, I came home. I was here in Michigan. I work for Google during the day, so I'm doing this on the nights and weekends. But I found it very difficult to find a native speaker to communicate with, just to maintain the language itself, not just for learning. There are language exchange programs where you can find people to speak with. You can go to meetup groups. I have a family, I have 4 kids. None of this worked with my scheduling. I pretty much had the time where I commute in my car, a little bit of time at home on the couch. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if you could just pick up a phone and call a native speaker without scheduling and just have a conversation about whatever you'd like. That was about 3 years ago. So I came up with this business, Fluent, and I'll tell you a little bit about it in the next 2 minutes and 28 seconds. So there's a chasm between learning in school and becoming fluent in a language, which I discovered through this journey. So I did some research. I looked at all sorts of programs, apps, other things that were available, the size of the market. It's really big. Here's some big numbers. I don't need all of these people to use my app. I just need about 10,000 per se to make a really good living off of this business, and I'm on my way. Another thing I've done in my past is flying airplanes. One of the best ways to learn is using a flight simulator. So the next best thing to actually flying the plane is using a simulator with somebody that has flown the plane as an experienced instructor. So that's what I set out to do. The next best thing to being in a country, speaking with native speakers, is to speak with native speakers wherever you are. It's best to be sitting at a restaurant face to face. That's not always practical. Not everyone can afford to do that. But with Fluent, we developed a mobile app where you can simply pick up a phone. I could right now pick a language, how long you want to speak for, and connect with a native speaker that's on call right now, similar to how Uber works. That is all I'm going to share with you right now, but I did want to add a couple, since I have a minute left, I want to use this time. I was delighted recently by an experience I had. I've been trying to learn Spanish. I've been interviewing teachers for the business over the past, we just launched in the end of December, and I've personally interviewed about 75 teachers. And the other day I called a woman in Colombia. She couldn't speak English, and I couldn't speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish very well. But within 10 minutes of struggling through a conversation, trying to communicate with this woman in Colombia, I actually learned a lot, more than I've ever learned in Spanish. And to me, that was a delightful experience. And the opportunity that people have to communicate in foreign languages from anywhere they are is going to open up a lot of doors. I encourage you, my ask is to, if you'd like to teach your native language, sign up as a teacher with Fluent, and if you'd like to learn a foreign language or develop mastery, sign up as a Fluent student.
Awesome. All right, questions for Mark?
Sure.
How many people do you have involved in your organization to support this? Because it's typically a 1-to-1 ratio, right?
How many teachers?
Yeah, teachers.
Well, we need about probably 5 to 10 times as many teachers as students to have someone available all the time. I've been looking at the app and the availability just to see, like, during the day how many people are available, because they go on and off call by clicking a button. So it really depends on the the volume of student. We need to augment that with the teachers. And I found that it's actually pretty easy recruiting the teachers. There are a lot of people that want to earn $15 an hour working from home, just having a conversation in their native language. So, yeah.
What languages do you have right now, and like what are the percentages and numbers for the different languages?
Sure. We have 12 or 13 languages right now. So, Arabic, Spanish, German, Polish, Russian, French. I don't remember all offhand, but I essentially sign up teachers as they apply with the language, and my goal is to have all of the world languages in there eventually. But obviously there are more Spanish speakers in the United States. We're available globally in 12 countries too. So I'm sorry, second part of your question was?
Like what, percentage-wise, and do you have like people in other countries that want to learn English?
Yeah, that's the most. There are 1.5 billion people in the world that are trying to learn English right now. So there are actually quite a few companies for learning just English available. Not many that have an on-demand model like mine is, but there aren't many countries that have all languages available, or companies that have multiple languages like that. So yeah,
What's the number one reason people want to learn a language, and does that affect the way they engage with your app?
Well, from a recent experience, I've been to language classes here at the University of Michigan to speak with Spanish students. The main reason they would use this service would be to practice for an oral exam. So people that are in like the freshman, sophomore classes typically just want to get through and get a good grade. People that are a little bit older, maybe traveling abroad, working in another country, want to develop fluency. I've also met with the government, the State Department. They have a lot of people learning Arabic as an example. So I have about 10 Arabic teachers in there standing by right now. Yeah.
How are you getting the word out about this, and especially in like these other countries, to learn English?
Yeah, well, I'm not investing a lot of money in that right now, but mostly through social media. I do very targeted campaigns with Google app installs and Facebook and things like that, which have been working fairly well. Also, I know people in several countries, so I'm trying to use personal connections too. Yeah.
How do you vet your teachers?
Yeah, so there's a fluent teacher policy. The first qualification is they need to be a native speaker in the language. And then second, we have a conversation on the phone so that I can ensure that they have a comfortable tone, that they're able to carry a conversation. And then after each call, they're rated by the student. So there's rated out of 5 stars and comments are left. And the teachers with the better ratings surface to the top when you're looking for a teacher. So they kind of select that way. Yeah, back here in the red.
So 2 questions. How are you training your teachers, if at all? And then the second question is, what's the incentive for teachers who are teaching less commonly taught languages where the base of students might not be a lot, and you have people sitting around their house all day not getting $15 an hour?
Sure. Well, I'm not training the teachers. Most of the people applying, probably 90%, are already language teachers. And they're high school language teachers or in some other organization, and they're using this as a supplement. So say, oh, I'm available from 3 to 5 every afternoon. I'll just log on here, and if someone happens to call me, great. If not, they're not worried about it. But I don't have enough students yet where there's a constant flow of calls coming in. So I still need to do more marketing to the students. Yeah.
How do you model the time changes in the world with this? And the second question is, didn't you mention that you need 5 teachers per every student? Mm-hmm. That would suggest if you need 10,000 students, you need 50,000 teachers?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a big scale.
Yeah, big scale. So I've created videos recently for the interview process for teachers. So we're having the teachers apply through the site and then watch the video because it's not manageable to interview every teacher, but then we will be placing calls to the teachers randomly to make sure that they're adhering to all the policies. Sorry, the first part of your question?
Time zone?
Oh, the time zone. Yeah, we are available in Australia. There's no schedule for the teachers, so they simply click a button in the app that says go on call. So I send out emails. I sent one this morning, say, reminder, please turn your phone off when you go to sleep because you may get a call in the middle of the night. Make sure you click the button to go off call. So.
All right, that's all the time we got. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Of great pitches, so thanks everybody for pitching. Thanks for all the great questions too. This is time for our post-pitch community announcement. So if you have a meetup that you want to promote or a position you're hiring for, you're looking for a position or a collaborator for a project, you have an event you want to promote, go ahead and line up over here alongside the whiteboard, and then I'll have one person at a time step up here to make their announcement. So go ahead and get up and do that now. You can also write your information over here on the whiteboard if you want to leave an email or something for someone to get in touch with you related to your announcement. And you can come on up and start.
I come here about every month. Russell Schindler, I'm with A2NewTech up in Traverse City. It's almost the exact same format as this. A couple of different things. We actually give away money every month. We give away $500. And last month we had 320 people in our meetup, which is huge and just blows my mind. And probably the most important one is we usually get about 15 millionaires and 1 billionaire in every meeting, and they're all looking to make investments. So it's a great place to pitch your product or idea. So I invite everybody that pitched tonight to apply at tcnewtech.org. I'm going to write it over here, and just go ahead and apply there, and we'd love to have you up in Traverse City.
Awesome.
Hi, Steve Hopkins from Billy again, and as I mentioned before, we have a enterprise sales executive position open. If any of you guys have ever recruited for a sales executive, you probably get flooded with the most unqualified slew of candidates as possible, right? Everybody's sold something, but what we're really looking for is people that have worked in the B2B space, particularly. Our deal size range from $500,000 to about $1.5 million. So comfort in that. Our sales cycles typically about 3 to 6 months, just to give some idea to that. And primarily in verticals, like I mentioned before, it'd be awesome to be experienced in the large health systems, insurance sector, or even the senior living space. All right, we're based in Ann Arbor right now. Anybody in the Southeast Michigan area would be great, and then we'll go outbound from there if we can't land somebody in Ann Arbor. All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Dani. I'm the co-director of the Arbor HealthX. And Arbor HealthX is a non-profit organization, and we are aiming at supporting healthcare innovation within our community. We're doing this by organizing monthly meetups, and we also have an annual healthcare hackathon. And in this hackathon, we are going to bring together about 150 people, both participants but also mentors, to tackle healthcare problems. So if you're interested in solving healthcare problems, or you have something on your mind that you want to be solved, you can go to our website when we are going to announce the annual healthcare hackathon. Everybody is invited. We have participants coming from the engineering field, software, healthcare professionals, academics, students. Everybody is welcome if they want to tackle healthcare problems. Which brings me, our next meetup is going to be March 18th. We're going to do a mini hack. Our topic is patient advocacy. So if you're interested in that, you can check out our meetup site and also our website that I'm going to put on the whiteboard. And last but not least, we are looking for a social media guru who is going to help us in spreading the word. So if you are a guru or you know of somebody who would like to volunteer in our organization, you can apply on our website, or you can talk to me afterwards. Thank you.
I am Abby Samuels. I'm here from the American Cancer Society. This is my first time at the NewTech meetup, so thank you for having me. I am actually launching a pilot. Well, a pilot is launching in a couple of our states for a fundraising campaign called Research HERS. HERS is spelled in all capital letters. And it's women funding women-led research. And in the state of Michigan is one of the states that is participating this year, and Ann Arbor is one of the target markets. I work here full-time for the American Cancer Society in Ann Arbor anyway, and I'm really proud to help lead this campaign. So across the state, we're looking for 100 women, and in Ann Arbor specifically 20, who are interested in promoting women in science and interested in funding them directly. The ACS funds about 50%, like it comes out pretty evenly, not intentionally, that's just how it is, that 50% of our research funding goes toward women already. But we know that there's a lot of work to be done there. So I'm looking for 20 people in women, 20 women in the Ann Arbor, Washtenaw area who that really speaks to, who would be willing to raise $2,500 as an individual. We are really looking to get some folks from the tech industry, and since all the speakers tonight were men, I feel like it's really indicative of how much we need women represented. So if that rings to you or you know of anyone it rings really true with, I'll put my information up here, and I'll also just leave a couple of cards underneath that. I'm reachable by phone or email. And the campaign will take place in a shortened timeline during the month of May. We will have, hopefully coming soon, because it's all very new and being rolled out, some statewide chairs that are pretty impressive. We have a local volunteer chair also who will help us coach. So if you're interested even in a conversation, I'd love to have one with you.
Great, thank you.
My name is Daniel Jeffries. I'm Director of Product at a company called Blue Medora. We're based in Grand Rapids. We're venture backed. And I'm here because I'm interested in hiring someone who has experience in SaaS B2B growth. This is the first growth role for a new product. This is a monitoring product. It's an IT monitoring product, so it's a technical product. And really interested to meet anybody that has B2B SaaS growth experience, growth marketing. So think digital campaigns, think conferences, things that bring users into a B2B SaaS product. Thank you.
Great.
Hi, I'm John Hoinville. I'm the Director of Operations for Alpha Django, and we're a company that works with startups, and we act as your CTO, your development team, and your design team. And we're always looking to speak with new clients or entrepreneurs who need help with their technology. I'll put my information up here.
Hi, I'm Dan Thomas. I'm an independent software developer focused on data science and business intelligence. I'm not looking for any other clients at this moment. I'm working on a personal project involving sports analytics. I'm kind of comparing meta performance versus performance on the field, and kind of determining what how that affects the outcome. And just want to find out, is there anybody else here that's interested in sports analytics? Anybody? A few people. All right. Yeah. What's that?
Which sport?
Currently the NFL, but I could see it applied to other sports as well as other called contests where with binary outcomes like sales, you either made the sale or you didn't. It's kind of a sport. All right. I'm Dan. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Corey Fernandez. I'm a leadership coach with a Michigan-based team named UMich. I lead monthly peer coaching forums in Ann Arbor, Plymouth, and Brighton. This is where 10 to 20 leaders come together to discuss, decode topics like effective communication, resolving conflict, coaching, emotional intelligence. If you're a leader or if you lead teams, and you're interested in looking at your leadership, if you're interested in looking at your team's development and figuring out ways to accelerate that development through some of these forums and ways to connect with other leaders, I will leave my contact information on the wall here. And I'd love to talk to you tonight at Pizza House as well if you're interested in that kind of development for you and your teams. Thank you.
Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Hein, like the ketchup, without the Z, and this is Matt. Hello. We both co-own a brand strategy agency here in Ann Arbor that works with early stage startups who need help crafting their brand message to convert their customers, need help articulating their value prop, honing their elevator pitch, and getting funding from investors.
Yeah, and we, so obviously if you're working on your pitch and things like that, catch up with us afterwards. We'll leave some information up there as well. Also, if you're an investor and you're interested in giving feedback on what makes a great pitch, we're always interested in having that conversation. And we have a few workshops in Ann Arbor in late March, early April as well. So we'll leave our information up there if anybody's interested. We'll grab a coffee or eat some pizza later and chat about those things.
What's your company name?
Huck Finch.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Hello everybody, my name is Luke Donahue. I'm a member of the New Enterprise Forum, which is a local group here in Ann Arbor, celebrating their 33rd birthday coming up this week. We have a forum meeting coming up on Thursday where we're giving away, or we're going through our entrepreneurship awards for 2018. But what I want to talk about is the forum itself is a group of seasoned investors that volunteer their time in a nonprofit capacity to provide guidance and feedback to entrepreneurs to get ready to pitch to venture capitalists. So angels and venture capitalists. That's really their bread and butter, not the marketing side, not the coaching on the leadership side. It's really, do you have your financials in order? Do you have your pitch deck in order? Do you have the cadence set right? And it's a great organization that's helped a lot of startups in the past really go through and try and raise quite a bit of money. So if you're interested in learning more about it, it's newenterpriseforum.org. It's, like I said, a great organization, really welcoming, and we're looking to build a pipeline of companies for 2019. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me after. Thanks.
Alrighty, so we can wrap up tonight. As a reminder, Ann Arbor New Tech is always the third Tuesday of each month. And so our next A2NewTech meetup is Tuesday, March 19th. Right now we do have spots open for pitches in March and April. I got a couple announcements still, so hold your commotion. If you want to pitch, if you know someone who should pitch, email us at organizers@a2newtech.org, and we'd love to hear that. We just had someone reach out through the meetup page yesterday or the day before about pitching in March. Criteria that we have for companies that pitch, generally that you've done some customer validation, spoken with some prospective customers at least, maybe have some traction, or you've hopefully at least built a prototype so that you have something that you can show to represent your idea. Again, you can find us on madeina2.com/Slack to find that Slack channel in the next month. Or check out madeina2.com, which is kind of a directory of Ann Arbor tech companies, so you can learn a little bit more about who's out there. So again, send in your pitch idea to organizers@a2newtech.org, and show of hands who's planning to join us at Pizza House, so we get a sense of numbers. Okay, awesome, sounds good. We'll see you at Pizza House, which is at 618 Church Street. Thanks, everybody.